Fintan, a lot of social issues being discussed this morning. What do you consider the main challenge in social terms for Europe as it is now?
Well, I mean, what's been discussed here today is the challenge to have the social issues reflected in the economic discussions, in the internal market discussions, to have things like how hedge funds works, how the markets work, and what impact they have on social policies. This is the big discussion that's going on here today. But of course, for social policies, key issues are to ensure that everybody in Europe has access to a decent minimum income, everybody in Europe has access to decent social services which are necessary, and everybody in Europe has access to decent and quality employment when they're in the ages where they should be able to access employment. That's the key issues that we need to discuss here today.
Some people are saying the balance in Europe is tipping in favor of the economy, away from the social achievements from the last few decades. How do you see this?
Yes, as a social platform, we're very concerned that there's been a narrow view of the economic issues, which is just concentrating just on growth and jobs, and that this narrow view has been dominant in the last few years. And today's conference is trying to challenge that, saying, look, you have to think about all the things together in this complex world that we have today. You have to think about the questions of growth, employment, questions of social cohesion, all in the same package, and that needs to be at the concern of prime ministers and not just social affairs ministers. It needs to be at the concern of finance ministers as well.
The finance and the economics ministers are saying, well, we need more economic growth so we can create more jobs and then pay for the social system. How do you see that?
But the finance ministers need the support of the society and of the citizens. And the way that they're constructing the debate now, people are losing trust in the society. And this is a huge question because the finance ministers can't deliver what they want without high degrees of trust in the society. Otherwise people start finding ways to avoid paying their taxes, to being involved in proper systems. And so the finance ministers too have to answer the question is, with their approach, how are they going to build trust in the society that they're proposing?
What did you find the most striking thing you've heard so far at the conference?
Well, very striking today is just the question that the Commissioner was speaking about, transparency about budget making. And this is very interesting, not just for an EU level, because I think the citizens probably have the image that they're paying vast amount of tax monies to the European Union. But in fact, it's probably a very, very tiny percentage that they're paying for European Union things. So I think both that transparency question and how budgets are planned at European level, but also transparency about how the budgets are being spent at national level, what percentages are spent to different types of activities, is a huge issue that I think will help to try and rebuild this trust if people understood that better, and then if they shaped how the budgets are being made for to reflect better the social priorities that the citizens often put forward.
What do you hope the impact of this conference will be?
Look, it's not often that you get economic ministers, economic commissioners, social ministers all in the same room. So this is quite an achievement already that this is happening at this conference, and my hope is that it will be just the starting point, not the end point of a discussion. So I hope that they will find it interesting enough to have engaged in this discussion to realise why it would be worthwhile that finance ministers spend more time talking to social people.